So what's good? It's another week for the podcast Rips the Poses. Today we have one of my teammates and new, well, I won't say new, but recent natural pro, Daniel. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing good. Long time no see.
I know, brother. It's been a while.
When was the last
Last
time you
time
guys met?
backstage, ANBF.
Yeah,
Was it the NBF? So October
Yeah,
last year.
yeah,
And you placed the same, but just in a smaller or like taller and shorter category.
yeah,
Was second place
yeah.
for you guys.
yeah.
How was your journey? So we know the journey of you, Dre, but Daniel, would you maybe explain a little bit why you started training and how you became the overall champion at the GNBF last year?
Uh, well, first of all, I started training very early, I guess in my teenage years. I think like 7 years ago now.
How old are you
And
now?
I'm I'm 22 now. So I started when I was around 15, like seriously. And I was training from home at first because I thought, why not try and start getting into working out? I really wanted to get a six pack for summer and just look good in general, not only for the boys but also for the girls. But as we all know, when once you get deep and into the fitness scene, you kind of start enjoying the process more and you do it for yourself. So after like 2 3 years of training, I really started loving it and didn't feel like a chore. So ever since I've been I signed up in the gym like 6 or 5 years ago, I think. And I found bodybuilding for myself, I think in mid late 2020, but I was never really focused on competing. It was just like on the side. And one day I told myself, yeah, if I really want to compete, I got to prepare accordingly. So I think in late 2020, I started a really long bulking phase over the course, I think, of 1.5 years until the start of 2022. And
Just
that's when I started my.
one just quick question. How much did you gain in this off season of 1.5 years?
Uh, well,
Wait,
I started at, I think it must have been like 80, 85 kilos. I honestly don't remember, but I know I ended up at like 113, 115. I was like my highest weight. And it was a lot of weight to shed off. But at the time being, it was lockdown. Corona times were very current. So I thought my mentality was obviously I still need more of a foundation to really compete in. And what better way to do it than to just eat a ton of food and go crazy in the gym, because that was um, my mindset of my perspective of growing in the gym. I didn't really think it was necessary to stay leaner all year long, so I thought instead of not putting on enough muscle, I thought why not put on more size than necessary and put on the necessary muscle as well, because as we know the gyms were closed during that time. I could only train from home, so equipment was limited, and that I felt like that was my way of playing all my cards to put on maximum size. So and in early 2020, I contacted Stefan, who is still my current coach, and I asked him for help for my first prep. First couple of months I did by myself, but I knew I needed someone to aid me professionally, so that I can really reassure that I'm making the most progress. And over the course of having gained all that weight, I had to lose all that weight again, but it was I'd say a completely different look from what I looked before. And at the time being, I was 19. So I stepped on stage for the first time at 19 years of age after dropping over 30 kilograms in a time span of, I think, 10 or 11 months. So it was quite the hassle, but I think we got the job done very well. And I placed second at my first show ever. That was the GmbF, the juniors. And obviously that goes until 22, no, 23.
I think
So
including 23. Yeah.
yeah, including 23. There were a couple older guys than me, obviously, but I didn't let that bring me down. I thought I'll go in there, just check it out. And ever since I've been, in love with the sport. So yeah, that was my first show. And ever since, I don't know if I need to go, should I go into more detail? Maybe.
I will just ask you some things maybe. So, just regarding your progress, I think there's a good topic for this episode. How far should you go with the bulk? So, um, clean bulking, dirty bulking. Let's discuss this topic a little bit. And so, first of all, in the time you gained 30 kilos, did you eat it clean, or did you most also like up the calories by cheating, or let's say just dirty food in general or something, or did you really bulk mostly clean with the food sources?
Well, it depends. If you mean like food sources, like chicken, rice, vegetables, potatoes, fish, and all that kind of stuff, then I would say I'm probably eating. I probably ate cleaner back then than I eat right now, because I have like my weekly cheat meals. But back then it was all about just eating as much food as possible, and all the clean foods that I could obviously attain. So just clean foods over a longer period of time in a very high surplus, obviously, because I didn't want to put on like junk weight, well, which is still junk weight at the end of the day, because you can get fat from clean food as well if you eat it in a huge amount. But I had put a lot of emphasis on making it clean food, mostly.
Okay. At the end, people say calories are calories. Did you think it made a difference in like the quality gain over the time span? Because I really think that even if you're eating over your needs, I mean a good amount over your needs, it's still a difference. Or let's say there's less negative health impact on your system if you do it with clean food. Because at the end, your body has the essentials. If you eat a lot, mostly clean and some junk, it still has its essentials. It's just maybe more health demolishing than it could if you just eat clean food.
I never thought about the health aspect back then, and now that you mention it, it's probably detrimental to your health to some degree, for sure, but you have to consider the circumstances. I mean, for one, obviously I was in lockdown, and I thought I think everyone in lockdown got a little bit fatter, I suppose, but it's, I think, mainly just more important, especially as a teenager getting into lifting, to really put your focus on maximizing your frame and not doing a crash diet every summer, every couple of months, because that's what I was doing up until that point. I was already training for, I think, 3 or 4 years before I went into that serious bulk. And that's when I told myself, okay, no more distractions, no more partying or anything. I'm just going to bulk through summer and going to have like the biggest jump ahead of everyone, if you can put it that way, to really be competitive on stage. I think there are some parts to it that are probably going to be very negative. First of all, I mean, you're probably, in my opinion, I think you're going to put on more size probably than when you would stay leaner and bulk for a longer period of time. But the effort that you have to put into cutting down that weight is probably going to cost you some muscle. And I think I saw that in my physique very well. And I know there was a lot more muscle under under all the fat that I was carrying than I presented on stage. But for the circumstances being, we did the best job possible to really maintain that muscle. I just think if you can get super heavy and lift a ton of weight with good form and train intense, I think there's a point to be made about.
You also gained a lot of strength.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I gained that strength.
How much did your squat go up? I mean, you tracked it, obviously, I think.
I ended up, I don't know where my starting point was. I think my squat jumped from like 160 to 220.
Yeah.
I think in the time span of a year. Everything else, I mean, I was pressing 50s with ease back then. I still do now, obviously, but it's a different priority as it was back then. Back then, I just wanted to lift a ton of weight, and I feel like it does make a difference in your physique. You can tell when someone lifts heavy versus someone who trains in a more mediocre way. And
but do you think lifting heavy is the same as compromising your form? Because I was there too. You might remember I was also rowing pretty heavy shit. And at the end, it really fucked me up. But I'm a little bit older than you, but it fucked me up. back in 22?
I did some stupid lifts as well.
You also
when
injured yourself. You also did.
When I was a little younger, no, I injured myself in prep,
prep.
if that's what you mean. Yeah, that was like a small tear, but I was just doing RDLs.
It was not that heavy, if I remember
No, it was
correctly.
only 4 plates each side. It was, I don't know, I was activating my adductor for some reason and then it tore a little, but I was fine after 2 weeks. But I'm lucky I got away with a sort of lifting that heavy weight, because a lot of people need to be genetically predisposed to not get injured, I think. I'm relatively lucky when it comes to that.
Well.
Yeah, when I look at other natural competitors, I mean, Dre is pretty strong himself as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's told me his numbers. I haven't seen a video yet, but I believe him. About from his powerlifting days. But when I look at other natural competitors, and obviously you're not supposed to compare yourself with people, but natural lifters, most of the time, they don't lift heavy weights. So
do you think so?
If you're able to, most of the time, especially in bodybuilding,
because it's like everything's programmed. Or what is your take? Why do you think they lift less heavy? I think I
don't think it's a big factor, personally, but it's just from what I've seen, people lay way too much focus on being optimal and taking notes in the gym rather than actually focusing on training heavy and hard. So I think that's where the difference comes from.
I agree.
You can tell by someone's approach to training, when he lifts heavy weights, there's a good chance that he probably trains more intense than the people that just know their stuff all the time and kind of lose track of what's actually important. Yeah.
Yeah, because there are very few natural lifters I see that lift heavy. Like Daniel is one, and I don't know if you know Knife. His name Knife. He lifts very heavy too. Like he's out of the UK. He lifts very heavy as a natural lifter too. But there's not a lot of them. You know, like he said, a lot of people focusing on being optimal. But I think if you actually train with intention and intensity, you will get very far. Like you build muscle more rapidly by training with intensity and intentionality and going heavy. Like it's okay to go heavy. Of course, going heavy puts you more susceptible to injury. But if you focus on gradually increasing your strength by doing form properly, you will get stronger in a safer manner, and you will grow muscle. You will grow muscle more rapidly, and you have better recovery because you're not doing so many reps in each set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
The thing is, what I'm seeing, most people really overcomplicate training.
Yes.
When I was in the gym last week.
Yeah, go for it.
I was in the gym last week, and I started training when I was 14, 15, and there was this kid that I've seen a couple of times. I've been thinking of approaching him, but I just want to train for myself. I usually don't speak to anyone, but there was this kid, probably maybe 14, 15 at most, relatively skinny kid, and he was doing lat pull downs, and he had his notebook next to him. I mean, he was noting things all the time, which obviously isn't wrong. It's good to track progress as early as possible, but I think there's just a point where it's just not necessary. I think in your first 3, 4, 5 years of training, there's so much you just don't have to be doing, and you'll probably end up making the same progress, if not better, if you're not
at the end, if you start, it's about nailing the basics.
Absolutely.
Just first of all, move weight, like the weight from A to B with good looking form. That should be the first focus point. Then you can optimize muscle activation, of course, pulling with the right muscle. Some people have trouble when they first start training by really targeting the lats or the glutes or the biceps or something. But over time you should definitely go heavy, but you can still build a really good physique by doing 5 sets of each exercise, or you just do 1. But maximum intensity, both could get you the desired result. And this is the crazy but still weird thing about bodybuilding. So many things work, but like literature and science says some other things as well. Some things you see that are working in bodybuilding are not like backed by science a lot of times.
Yeah. I think a lot of the times people, especially these days, I know the fitness scene is going in a different direction nowadays, I think, than it was maybe like 5-7 years ago when I was already around. It's like people try to look at studies and try to justify that for them to not train heavy or some other way, rather than gaining the first-hand experience first and then making the comparison. And I think that's where a lot of the effort gets lost. I think most people that start in the gym, nowadays, at least, they focus too much on what is backed by science rather than, I guess, finding like a middle ground. Because if you shy away from like heavy compound movements, for example, there's gonna be a sort of density missing in your physique that you're just gonna have if you focus on the primary things like I don't know, like bench pressing or dumbbell pressing, heavy squats.
Daniel, I think
heavy
there's
RDLs.
also a big mental part of it. It's less scary to go under a leg press than do a squat
100%.
or do a chest press instead of doing a dumbbell bench press.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Less
For me,
scary.
that's the most fun part about training. I don't know where that gets lost with most people because I see people doing the most craziest shit in the gym sometimes.
Yeah. I think I agree with Daniel. Like the heavy lifting, the squats, those are fun. The deadlifts, those are fun. Most people think they're dangerous. Yeah, they can be dangerous. All exercise can be dangerous. Dumbbell press can be dangerous if not locked in like you should. But as you
You can injure
said,
yourself by walking
huh?
on the street.
Yeah, you can injure yourself doing anything.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be under a squat bar. You can just fall over a stone or something and then your hamstrings pulled.
Exactly.
Like random.
Yeah.
It also, I mean, I don't. Most people probably wouldn't injure themselves if they warm up adequately. If they structure or program their training in a way that allows them to utilize more, I don't know, just use more mind-muscle connection. I think, for example, if you do a chest fly before dumbbell presses, or like give yourself another 3 or 4 warm-up sets where you slowly accumulate to your working set, you're most likely not going to get injured unless you probably haven't slept well or your food is down quite a bit. I mean, if you know how to train after a couple of years, that probably shouldn't happen unless you're maybe blasting a ton of gear and your
Growing too much.
body just can't withstand it and it's so much weight. But for natural lifters especially, I feel like that's the main issue.
It could also go in this direction after a cut or after a competition, when you have the food intake up and you really gain a lot of pump, a lot of strength in the post-competition phase. There's, I think, the most dangerous phase for natural lifters to get injured. In this still pretty dry body fat percentage, but still lifting heavy again.
One thing I've been doing this past couple weeks, sorry to interrupt, since it's been like 6 months now, I think, exactly, since I stepped off stage or ended my prep. So ever since, I've been making the best progress ever because this time I actually nailed my reverse diet. I gained at a very controlled rate each week. So I had about like 0.5 kilograms of weight gain each week, which I think is very good.
Still a lot, but it depends. It always depends on the look. I see people get fat with 200 grams a week, and you can also see people not getting fat by 1 kilo a week sometimes.
Yeah, you can't gain the exact amount infinitely. That just doesn't work and make the same progress. But I'm just saying, this comes with the training aspect, of course. What I've been doing is, and I've made the best progress so far, I think I've already mentioned, but I've been increasing my working weights by such a minimal amount that just is maintainable over a longer period of time, rather than doing those big jumps. For example, I don't know, if you do like a T-bar row and you're doing 5 plates and adding like half a plate, that's too much. You're probably going to be burnt out by the end of the month, and then you're going to have to deload or whatever, or restart. So I've been literally adding like a 1.5 kg plate each week and trying to maintain the reps and match the reps and the form as well, and maybe even improve on the form, but not increase weight at the cost of your form. And also, just don't throw on a ton of weight way too quickly. A lot of people do that as well. I feel like if you can stretch out your progress, you'll ultimately make better progress long term and put on more size.
Steady progress.
Yeah.
not fast rises and then big falls. Because some people really focus on bodybuilding for a certain amount of time, then they kind of burn out or they get injured because they overdid it. You need to be patient in this, and like you said, this could be a way of progressing each week, slowly but steady. One thing I want to mention with the, maybe it's the bulk going too far, what I saw with you and also with some other athletes as well, of course, you gained also a lot of skin, and this I think was also part because at the 22 show why you didn't look as conditioned as you could have, because your body fat percent was low. I think there was a lot of soft skin, like not really pressing against.
Yeah. But I also think just over the years, you're gonna get that hard, grainy muscle at some point. It's just not gonna be in your first few years competing. I had a completely different look competing last year around.
Yeah.
After giving myself a good 2-year space in between to really grow and maximize my frame again. And it looked completely differently. My skin was pressing against my muscles, of course.
It was way better, but still, Daniel, it still is something to be desired especially at the ab area.
For sure.
If you manage to stay leaner in the off season, also over the last years, I think, and because you're still young, will get really tighter over the years, because your skin is, you have good skin, you don't have a lot of stretch marks.
I think I'm very lucky with my skin.
Yeah.
I think most people would probably have like loose skin everywhere. That wasn't the case for me, at least, not this season or in general. But yeah, you're definitely right. I'm
if someone would gain the weight with 25 or 30 and they would go up 30 kilos, bro, the skin will look way different.
But I also think the prepping all the way down, and then like he said, this time he nailed it. He felt like he nails his reverse diet. I think that plays into a part too, because we shed all that fat. We get like 4 or 5% body fat, and now it's always expressing, like showcasing just muscle, and we build up on that properly. Then it'll make that hard muscle show through, that those striations show through better, and more dense muscle. The more we cut, we prep, and then we nail the reverse diet. I think if you keep doing that, you'll get the results as you want. Like he said, it won't be right now, but like maybe 2, 3, or 4 years down the road, you got that physique that you desire.
Do you guys think that you should aim to stay leaner each off season, or you think okay, maybe you should always get a little bit fluffy?
I think for me, I want to get a little fluffy. Like, I don't want to be astronomically fluffy, but I want to be like, I think, of course, anytime we build a muscle, we have to be in some sort of surplus. Now, I don't necessarily mean that like a crazy surplus, but we must be in some type of surplus. I think it's more the mental thing, because of course, we're coming from prep. We see how shredded we are. We don't want to see, like, we miss the shreds and stuff like that. But if you locked in and understand that I must gain some type of body fat, or some extra, like some type of fat on my body to gain the muscle to be better the next year, it kind of like, I understand it. Like, would I much rather be shredded? Yes, I love the look, but I want to be better next year than last year. So I know I need to add a little fluff to get some muscle.
I think it's necessary, but not for everybody. For Costa, for example, he's always lean.
Yeah.
Like, those guys don't need to gain body fat to optimize progress, I think, because their body is very efficient. At the end, one thing I want to mention still, with the maybe overdoing the off-season thing, if you once gained a lot of fat cells, you still have the fat cells, bro.
Yeah.
And those are really more likely to fill with more water as well. So this is also a big part. If you lose a big amount and then you gain a lot of weight back after you prep or after you diet, will most likely pull a lot of water in the midsection area or in the loose skin area first. So your look will appear way worse if you lost a lot of the weight before in the post.
I think next time around it's gonna look even better. I just think it's a matter of time till the skin kind of pulls together and tightens up a little more. But I also think conditioning plays a big factor. But in the off season, I feel like you need to reach a certain body weight, and for every person, it's a different number. But to really be able to go out there and do those heavy compounds like we were talking about, because I could name an example. I mean, obviously, you shouldn't have to lose a ton of strength during prep. I mean, you will inevitably lose some, but just from a stability standpoint, it's super important. I was able to squat 4 plates each side before my prep without a struggle. And after prep, I was really struggling to squat like 140 kilos. Like, that was like a month post prep, and I had to take a break from training because I was completely burnt out. My central nervous system was destroyed, and I really had to push myself for 140, which is tough because as a guy who squatted 5 plates before, that's quite a big jump down. And now, 6 months later, obviously with that steady increase each week and the increased calories, but obviously not to the point where I get super fat, but you have to some degree, because I think since November I've put on like 80 kilos on my squat. So since post prep phase, and I think last week I did 220 for like 5 reps, and that's what I was doing with 140 5 or 6 months ago. So that definitely plays a big role.
What also you need to think about is that when you lose body weight in a prep, but your strength stays, you're getting relatively stronger.
Yeah, for your body weight.
Yes, relative to your body weight, you're getting stronger because your working weight is staying consistent, but your body weight is dropping. So at the end, if you lose a lot of weight and you're still strong at the end of prep, and then it just falls down a little bit, it's no problem. Of course, you should work against it, but at some point you will lose strength for sure, because you're also just a lot lighter.
Yeah, but that's also correlated to the fun aspect. If I'm going into the gym and I know it's going to be trash and I know I can't move the weight that I used to move, then obviously it's not going to be as fun some days.
How do you manage in prep?
How I manage in prep?
How's your mental take on that?
I think getting weaker in prep is a mindset thing. I think if you choose those movements specifically and choose a weight that you can hold for a certain amount of time, then you're probably going to get stronger. For me, I got stronger on certain movements, but not to the point as I would in the off season. But I did get stronger. Sometimes I was able to increase my lifts. Most of the time I was just maintaining them. But I think if you tell yourself you're going to get weaker on prep, you probably will.
For sure.
I think it's most of the time there is an underlying, I don't know, there's a fire inside you that wants to unleash your strength, but then your mind tells you you're in a caloric deficit and you can't. So I think that's a huge barrier that people have to pass through during prep. Most of the time people are like, oh, I'm in prep, and then they decrease their working weight by like half, and that's what's probably going to lead to you losing some size as well.
Yeah.
You have to kind of fight against that.
First you try to build up the strength still. So
of course, if you can,
always try to get stronger, and at some point it shifts. You're trying to hold the weight everywhere, and then work against getting down.
I think in the off season you should really try every week to at least get stronger somewhere in some exercise during training, whether that be from a rep standpoint or a weight increment standpoint, or even from like a control standpoint. But during prep, your main focus should really be to at least maintain your strength.
Yeah.
And if you can increase it, that's obviously a big plus point as well.
Oh, I think Dre is missing now.
Dre's gone.
Oh, he's there. I'm almost finished with my cardio. Then my brain works more. So, I also had people who got stronger in the peak week. It shouldn't be like this, but some people, also if you say to them as a coach, don't push it in the peak week. Some people do it still. And I saw people getting stronger after hard prep in the peak week. I think it's a lot about the mindset. The mindset is it's the base of everything. Do you guys think it's genetic or I mean, are you born with a weak mindset or can you improve it over your life?
I think it improves. I just had this conversation with someone like 3 days ago, 2 days ago, and we just talking about like a resilient mindset, and like I think it plays into a part like how you were raised, like like the groups that you were around, like what did you do growing up? A lot of people like, especially like super resilient people I know, like played sports or they came from different areas of life that very very tough areas of life, and they realize that like this is just a moment in my that I'm going through right now, and this is something I can get over. And once they get over it, the resiliency builds more. I think resiliency comes from being tested in certain situations and overcoming those situations. And I think bodybuilding is the same way. Like, think about how we feel. Think about how we feel before we go for before a PR. Like, we have all this like anxiety. We worried about how it goes, and then I've seen it so many times where somebody would be they would be trying to do like 4 or 5 on squat, and they would work their way up. They get to 390. They'll do 390 for like 3 or 4 reps, and then they get to 4 or 5, and they feel like, oh my God, it's so heavy. But then once they do it, they jump up to like 420, like 425 or 450 easily. And it's just that resiliency that whatever hard that we're dealing with, once we make it over, we become stronger in other aspects of life or other areas of life.
I think everyone can can develop a strong mindset, and I think some people have it sooner, some people have it earlier, and for me, in terms of bodybuilding at least, I from a very early on age, I somehow managed to kind of condition myself to use every single bit of negative energy or anything negative in my life that I got and put it into the gym. And I don't know, that kind of really was pretty much the main factor of probably of why I was able to do as well as I have so far. And still till this day, like if you're able to just use that as a motivation, it should drive you. If you have anything negative in life, and everyone does, that's I feel like a key factor to getting that strong mindset. If you have people that doubt you, obviously that should be a fuel. If you haven't accomplished something you really want to accomplish and it fuels you in a negative way, then it should drive you for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And because like, if you never go through anything tough, you really don't build resilience. Like you got to go through something tough to build a strong mindset. Like if
You
you're
need,
not going through anything, if you're not pushing yourself, if you're going to the gym, you're not pushing yourself, you're not gonna have the mindset to push through a prep when it gets hard. You're not gonna have the mindset because you're not setting yourself up to do that before you even get to that situation. So how will you handle that situation if you're not setting yourself up with situation before that when you before getting into it?
You for
So like,
sure,
yeah.
you get tougher over time, but would you? I mean, of course you get tougher, but you should still choose good circumstances for your prep. Not only because you had a tough prep last time and you managed it to really push through, doesn't mean that you should just ignore the circumstances around you. Because I still think, even though you're tough, if your prep layout, like with finances, relationships, social life, working life, or anything is really structured and balanced, if you start a prep in this case, you will definitely be more. I think you will be better with a good starting point, also in the social area, than you would with a stressed one or with a lot of things moving in your social life. Doesn't matter how tough you are. At the end, if everything is structured and regulated, you will have less problems during prep.
Sometimes it's better to be tough. Sometimes it's better to be smart. You just got to decide which one is needed for that time. Like, yeah, we can be tough. We want to be tough when we need to be tough. We want to be smart when we need to be smart. Like, you gotta have both.
I got athletes eating their meals just with sodium, without anything else, because they want to stay as basic and as tough as they could. I mean, you should not do chunky flavor all over or sweeteners or something, but you still can season your food and enjoy it. You don't need to punish yourself during prep. I mean, you're still eating less, and then you're trying to be extra hardcore by like really reducing everything to the absolute minimum. I mean, it still works. It still works for sure. But is it necessary to really go to that place to just do everything as plain as possible? You guys think that it's necessary?
If you like it, then sure, why not? But I think if you reduce everything to the max, I think that's stupid. From the beginning on, you want to have your toolbox throughout a prep that you're able to decrease at a steady rate. And if you throw out all condiments on day one, how are you going to feel 3 months into prep?
It's not sustainable.
I think no, definitely not. And you're not going to be more hard. I mean, you're not going to end up looking better just because you were more hardcore.
So, I think you're going to look better if you have an enjoyable prep.
Yeah.
If you have fun with it, yeah.
If you have more fun with doing it, enjoying your food, and you're way more. I think it will result in a better look, even though it's not as perfect as it could be.
One of the key factors in being on stage and looking your best is no stress, like the less amount of stress.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the key things. So, like he said, it should be fun. It should be enjoyable. Like, prep can be it can be draining at times, but you still should find moments where you enjoy it. Like it shouldn't be where you hate going to eat your food because it tastes so bland or because you're not using something. Like, no, I still want to enjoy my food up until a point where I have to maybe get rid of condiments. But before that, I want to use my condiments. I want to enjoy my food as much as I can, even though it's not as great as it would be in my off season. So if you plan on being hardcore and you add more stress to yourself, guess what? You're gonna be more watery on stage. You're not gonna look your best on stage. You know, like it kind of, like you say, it's stupid. It's foolish.
I feel like you have to go through hardship to grow.
Yeah.
Like mentally for sure. But if you just make everything super hard for yourself, you're just gonna end up being miserable. I mean, if you I don't know. It was just from a mental standpoint for me. I feel like you need that hardship to grow. For me, it really helped looking back at getting that second place at my first show, and then being able to win that first place with the overall 2 years later. And I don't think I would have gotten to that point if I wouldn't have used that as a motivation and used that as, like, I guess I suppose, hardship to grow.
Still a second place, bro. Still a second place at your first show is a good one. Definitely.
It was good, but there's only one way out from second place. So obviously I want to prove to myself that I can be better and that I am better. So I don't think you should make yourself dependent on a placing. Obviously, there's a lot of different factors that play into that, but obviously the amount of effort you put in plays a huge role as well. So
I agree. The placing definitely isn't everything, but I'm saying we say it isn't everything, but we still want to be the best. Like,
you still want to win.
We still want to win, but like he said, I agree. Like, it's what we talked about last podcast. The goal should be always to make yourself better than you were before. If you go in with that mindset, you enjoy bodybuilding, you enjoy going to the gym, you enjoy the cardio, you enjoy the food, you enjoy it all because you know it plays into you being better than you were before. And that is taking away the comparison to other people. You only compare yourself to yourself, you know, and it's easier, it's more enjoyable when you compare yourself to yourself. You know, it's way more enjoyable, it's way more fun, it's way more, loving thing to do. Like, you don't mind going to the gym. Like, of course, you might have days where you may be tired of stuff, but you get back to the basic. Why am I doing this? Because I want to be better than I was last year. And if you keep going back to that, you'll always have a reason every single day to get up and do what you're supposed to do.
Did any of you ever compare yourself? I know many people do that, or like other pros or competitors in general. Compare yourself to other people on social media when you know you're going to do a prep with them and you know you're going to stand against that person on stage.
I wanted to ask exactly the same. Exactly the same. I think for a lot of people it is not good to look at Instagram pictures and think about, okay, I'm standing next to this guy, but for some people it gives them extra motivation. So for my part, I try to not look at other competitors too much. I just try to focus on myself because I saw it a lot of times in the past. You saw the people on social media, then they showed up on stage and it was not the same as on social media. So the whole point of
Everyone looks
stressing
better.
before was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
So at the end, it's social media, social media.
Yeah.
It's the
This is
same with the personality. I
yeah.
mean, the personality you see of the athletes on social media is not in 99% not the real 100% personality of the people behind it. It's just what they want to put out, and it's exactly with the pictures and videos. So
Yeah.
you won't post your shittiest side triceps try during prep. You will
Yeah.
post the exact best try after good light, in good light and with a nice pump.
Yeah.
So
You
at
gotta
the,
remember. You gotta remember. It's like everybody highlight reel. That's all it
yeah,
is. Everybody
yeah,
highlight
it's
reel, and then you got a lot of people using like Photoshop and stuff like that. So
yeah,
comparing
sure.
yourself to these people, you kind of like setting yourself up for failure because you're looking at the greatest thing they ever did, the greatest everything about their photo, and sometimes even Photoshop, and you comparing yourself to it. It's kind of crazy. Like I always say, comparison is the thief of joy. Like you never appreciate what you've done or how far you come if you always comparing yourself to everybody else. You know.
Guys, I was looking through really old photos of me in 2015, 2016, 14 or something, and I was taking the pictures like selfies exactly at the perfect angle where my waist appeared ultra small and my arm and my shoulder appeared super huge. And then I edited those pictures as well. And now looking back, I thought, okay, man, I look big, but I really know how I looked back then. I was not nearly as big as it looked on the pictures. So back then, I was just starting with my bodybuilding journey, but social media, it's the game, it's the name of the game. You highlight everything and you try to maximize everything, especially when there's money involved. If you have
Yeah.
sponsors, you won't post things that won't go get a big reach or something. So it's just social media, and some people benefit from really switching off social media for a few days before the show or for a few weeks, or maybe just not looking at other competitors.
I think it used to bother me in my first prep a bit, but I noticed very quickly that most of the people, obviously, everyone looks better on social media than in real life. Even I do. Everyone edits their pictures to some degree. But
Yeah.
you also have to take into account if you go into a show and you see like 20, 30 people that you are going to compete with posting stuff online, some of them are going to drop out. Someone's going to get injured. Someone's
Yes, yeah, yeah, you're right.
not even
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
compete. And there's so much stuff going on sometimes that I feel like it's kind of laughable. I don't take the social media aspect as seriously anymore. If I see another competitor, it is what it is. Probably, I mean, the sport is based off someone else's opinion. Even if someone does look better than you, then it shouldn't play a big role. I think we should learn to more, appreciate other physiques a bit as well.
Facts.
But
I agree. I agree.
yeah,
Shit. And that's one thing I do. Like I think as you grow into the bodybuilding community, you start to do that more. You start to actually appreciate other people's physiques, whether they're natural, whether they're enhanced, because you kind of get an understanding of it's a lot of work they put in. It's a lot of work they put in. It's a lot of time they sacrifice. It's a lot of, following things to the T that they had to do. And when that result comes, you be like, man, they did a great job. So it should be more supportive and less comparing. Like when we get on stage, that's when the comparison done and it's being done and we don't get a say so in it. But for the most part, we should be, trying to, look at it and appreciate other people like what they've done because I'm saying some people you just can't appreciate them because of who they are or how they are, their attitude, their character and stuff like that. You just don't want anything good to say, so you just don't say anything. But for a lot of them, you just want to appreciate what they did, what they've done.
it's a different vibe when you're backstage at a show versus when you're like playing football, because
Hmm.
everyone knows the work they put in to get there, and there's like a camaraderie, I guess. And when people place the way they place most of the time, at least from what I've seen, people are grateful. And just to be there, it should be it's an honor. It should be an honor for sure for everyone competing. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a sport like any other one. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of work that goes into it.
It is.
At the end, you're fighting on stage alone, but that doesn't mean that you need to be unfriendly with other people. Some people really push their ego too much, not only in the gym but also in the backstage area. I mean, I think everybody saw it at some point. And did you saw people who were really pushing themselves and then they ended up not being in the finals or something?
Mm-hmm.
You mean me or Dre?
No. Some people who are really. I mean, you know the social media game. Some people hype themselves up, and then you can see them at the competitions, and it's.
I used to post, I think from 12 weeks out, a video of myself every week in the same spot, in the same lighting in my gym, and it used to do really well. And at some point when I was 2 weeks out, I was getting certain comments, people telling me to even pull out of the show.
Yeah, I remember.
And it messed with me a little bit because when you're 2 weeks out, you're a little more frustrated. So I just stopped posting it at all because at that point, it's a very manipulated look. The way you look 1 week out is totally different than versus on stage. But I had a guy who I saw on social media trying to, I guess sort of not make it like a rivalry thing going on stage, which I guess is cool. And you're going to compete against each other, but you're not going like head through the wall competing against someone. You're going on a stage. It's a presentation.
And posing. Yeah.
Objective.
Doing a front double.
And at the end of the day, it's not a sport where if you're doing more, you probably get rewarded more. I mean, for most of the time at least. And I don't know. I don't pay attention to the social media stuff anymore as I did, because I had a guy message me, asking me where I'm going to compete, told him where I would compete. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to be there as well. So see you soon," which is, I guess, is cool. But I knew where he was coming from. And at the end of the day, he didn't look as good on stage at all as he did on social media. And I thought to myself, man, like if I would have given into that bubble of, getting that sort of intimidation, which I obviously didn't do, then I probably would have stressed myself a lot more than necessary.
Yeah.
Because I just don't give into that anymore. It's stupid.
I mean, I will repeat myself. It's still social media, and it shouldn't get too much into your head. It's a bubble.
They ain't real.
If it gets to you too much.
And there's so many people trying to be competitive, which is good for the sport, obviously. You need to have like a driven ego, I suppose, but it's not that serious, man. I mean, when you go on stage, the guy who put in the most work will get rewarded the best most of the time. But obviously, depending on many various factors, if there's a genetic freak that doesn't have to do as much, he might place higher than you. But most of the time, you're able to do a lot more with effort rather than, comparison on social media or shit talking.
For sure. The work is done in the gym and at home, in the kitchen, in the bed, sleeping. You work every day. Which sport really evolves 24/7 around your lifestyle? Which other sport than bodybuilding? I mean, where are you looking at your schedule, at your meal timing, macronutrients and everything, sleep schedule, stress management? Where do you look at those things as strictly as in bodybuilding? You guys have another sport that comes in your mind?
If anything, it's gonna be something like intense cycling or marathon running. Probably the only thing close to it, But I don't know. It's not like basketball, not football, not soccer, not stuff like that. It's not. It's more relaxed. Like you can slip up here and there, but bodybuilding you got to lock in most of the time. But we also like we always talk about most of the time. It's also a decision you make. Like it is crazy to beef with somebody over a decision you make, and you're not even getting paid for it. Like
it doesn't help you at all.
It's a hobby, bro.
It's still not at IFBB Pro Olympia level where the beef gets covered everywhere and it's maybe good for your reach or something.
Yeah,
it's exactly. Just nonsense.
Why are we beefing, bro? We're like amateurs. Like why
bro, chill. It's just.
I had a guy backstage at my first show who was like trying to play mind games, being all intimidating and shit. Like
backstage.
He was taking up. he was taking off his pump cover, pumping up like an hour before the show, posing like in everyone's faces, like, calm down, man. Like,
Chill, bro. That's what I mean with people who really sometimes push themselves up in backstage and then they go on stage and they end up, yeah, not placing as they would like to. So
it's not boxing or MMA.
no,
X.
I think
Amateur
I think
battle.
boxing or MMA is.
but guys, it seems
I
like
think it's harder than
it
bodybuilding.
more
to
seems
some-
like wrestling at this point. Did you guys hear that like a dude called out Sam Sulek and everything? Did you guys check that?
Tim Wilkins.
Yes. It was
Yeah, I
like
think
it really got. I mean, I watched wrestling the last time when I was a kid, and it really got serious wrestling vibes there because it was so nonsense beefing. But I mean, do you guys think something like this is good for the sport, or like the Bob versus Nick things, or if somebody's beefing? Like, I mean, a few years ago there was the Blessing against Nick story or something. You guys think it's good for the sport on that level, or do you guys still think it's nonsense, even though it's entertainment maybe?
Cause I understand what they're trying to do, but still, like, it's like why we add drama to it? Like, we don't need to be dramatized. Like, have a conversation. We're grown men
Because
and women.
people talk more.
Yeah, I get people talk more. But I'm saying I do like some of the I do like some of the little like rivalries. Not necessarily beefing, but rivalries. I like some of the rivalries because it's something to look forward to, like especially when it comes to like, the major pro shows or that like the Olympia and stuff like that. It's good, it's great to see those rivalries like Dino and C-Bone. Like they were still very close friends, but they were a known rivalry. Or like, I'm looking forward to like Pittsburgh Pro because they talking about like,
Bro, Pittsburgh gonna be crazy.
I know. I'm looking forward to that.
Crazy.
So it's things like that, and then you got the what's his name? He the Saharian. He gets Saharian desert dry. I think his name. I can't think his name. And then you had Wesley Vissers last year saying that he was gonna win Olympia, so that brought a lot of drama too. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was him to C-bomb, and then he didn't even he finished like he was talking a lot. He finished like sixth.
But bro,
Like,
he won 2 Arnold Classic titles last year, so
He did.
He kind of had the right of really. I mean, should you always be really slow, or you sometimes? I mean, you can use your momentum a bit. You
Yeah,
don't need to be
yeah,
cocky,
yeah.
but I think you should also use it.
Yeah, but sometimes we got to be cognizant when we talking because I'm talking about like he talking about C-bomb. Like, come on, man. Like your legs not there. Like his legs way bigger than mine, but I'm saying his leg wasn't there. But he also forgot about other people like Urs, like of course Mike. Like nobody thought about Mike for real, and he gets second place.
You know who will be Mr. Olympia this year in classic physique?
Terrence.
Freaking Terrence Ruffin.
That's what I'm going for.
I feel it. I feel it since years.
That's what I'm going
I
for.
mean, he won the
Terrence
Arnold Classic twice. He placed second twice at the Olympia. And he improved. I really
He
think he's
improved like crazy.
gonna crush some dreams this year. And he will do his debut this year in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Pro. I can't wait for that one because there's a lot of
Is
classic.
it 4 weeks?
classic
4
guys
weeks
gonna be-
out? No, I think
Huh?
4 weeks out. I think is it?
Four and a half, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5. Yep. And it's a lot of good classic guys there. So I can't wait to see it.
Hey Dre, did you see Luke getting third last show?
Where did he go? Utah?
Luke Steinka.
Oh yes, I did. He was on Bodybuilding Without Borders the other day about
Yes,
the top guys at Utah Pro. Yeah.
a few times, but he did 3 shows in a row, and I think now it's the 4th show at FIBO. You guys not
Yeah,
going to
I did see he going
FIBO?
to FIBO. Yeah, I did see he going to FIBO.
I follow the competitions, but I'm not going to FIBO. But Luke Steinka, yeah,
Yes.
he looked good.
He
really
did look good. Yeah.
I really hope he will stay on top. It would be great for him. I would really enjoy it. But
Great for you
I think
too.
we are almost the only people who are not going to the FIBO this year. It feels like.
Yeah. I wanted to go, but then I changed my mind last minute.
Man, I was the last years at FIBO, and I have no business this year, so I try to relax, do podcast, and not stress myself going to Cologne. But Dani, we will meet in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, you're competing soon.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I bought the tickets
Oh
yesterday.
shit. You're
Oh,
gonna
you
see-
compete in 2 weeks?
Huh? Yeah,
You
it's in
compete
2
in 2
weeks.
weeks?
Yeah.
You shit, baby.
But bro, I will not be ready in 2 weeks, but I will compete in bodybuilding up to 80.
And you go to
classic
Berlin,
80,
right?
and men's physique. I will do 3 categories.
In Berlin?
Yes.
You're
Okay.
doing men's
Yeah.
bodybuilding, classic, and men's physique.
Yes. I will do everything, and then I'm gonna
In
see
one
how
day.
I look. Huh?
In one day.
Yes, and the next day I'm gonna compete at DBFV Berlin Championship.
Oh man.
Also bodybuilding up to
Great.
80.
You said the next day?
Yes.
Man, you are tripping.
I'm gonna do like 4 shows at this
Yeah.
weekend.
4 shows in 2 days.
I mean 4 showings. Let's say showings. 2 shows,
Yeah.
but 4 showings. Yeah.
When I saw the men's physique posing on your story, I thought you were trolling.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were.
I
He
also
actually
thought I
looked
was.
good though.
I also
He
thought I
actually
was
looked
trolling, but at the end, people texted me, "Bro, do it, do it," and my wife also sits behind me and said, "Don't let your ego go too high. Do men's physique; it's another chance." So
You never know.
I'm gonna
Have you
do,
ever-
bro. If I really gonna do good in men's physique in 2 weeks, I might compete 2 weeks later in Sweden just in men's physique. because I'm gonna be in Sweden with an athlete of Yazzie who's gonna compete fit model there, and I'm there at the pro qualifier, so why not compete? Oh, maybe I'm not as conditioned in the glute area as I should have if I want to win classic physique or bodybuilding, so maybe just gonna try do men's physique there. Bro,
I'm looking forward to that.
I would laugh so hard if you get your pro card.
bro,
man.
imagine. Fuck my life.
I would laugh so hard.
I would not be sure if I should cry or just laugh if I do it in men's physique. But at the end, pro card is pro card or not.
Facts,
So
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I really can't really imagine it right now if I don't see myself on stage, stand up with a good board shorts, you know. What size are your shorts, Dre? What waist size?
I think I got a medium
Is it medium?
or large. I got a large now though, cause my legs kind of grew. So
Yeah.
but
I'm
first it was
still looking
medium.
for good shorts that fits me. So still looking for one.
You know, I had to go get mine. I had to go get mine. Take mine to a tailor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to take them to a tailor to get my waist.
Yeah. Because I have a good one, but it's way too wide on the waist. So it fits in the leg area. It has the perfect length and width in the legs, but at the waist, and I really like the shorts. With
Go
the
to the
style.
tailor.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, go to the tailor and tell them. Yeah, and just get it done. Yeah, like so you can have them like perfect.
That's
for
a
you.
good idea. I need to
Yeah.
find a tailor. But I will get sent 2 shorts also by an athlete that I know for a long time. So just try those and maybe still go to a tailor with the other one. I don't know. But it's still, I mean, it feels weird to pose in that kind of way. I mean, I'll teach it a lot with my athletes, and I mean, you know, Dre. But really trying to hold the poses for longer, stay in the pose, and transition nicely for a more frequent thing, or I don't know. It feels weird. It feels really weird.
Yeah, different.
I
bro.
can just. I really don't really feel it as I should. I think.
I think you just gotta get one show out of the way and then it'll be okay.
But bro, I can play it that I feel it. So I can walk on stage smiling and everything, no problem. But at the end, I cover my whole legs. I do 2 poses. What the fuck? I mean, I really mean it. It's
Yeah.
you do 2 poses. I mean, you can switch the front pose and a little bit the back pose, but it feels, I don't know,
Weird.
missing.
Yeah.
Let's just say missing.
I'm
It
saying
feels incomplete.
I will say any type of classic or bodybuilding posing is way better. It's way more fun because it seems like you're gonna express yourself more.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can express yourself more.
but still, I think the men's physique poses look good.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes. I'm really I just want to see myself compared. I know I don't have the best conditioning at that show, but I want to see the size compared in the 80 category and also in the classic A category. Men's physique as well, but I really think I will be more competitive in men's physique at this show because it covers my glutes, my weakest area. So, but it's the main goal is to do Alicante 5 weeks later. But I think also the show in Berlin will show me if I'm gonna compete also maybe in Alicante at men's physique.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Emilio told me to do bodybuilding and classic there. So if I look good in men's physique as well, I don't see the point not doing it if you're still there. Or should you stick to one category? What you guys think? I mean, Daniel also competed in classic physique and bodybuilding. You, Dre, you also competed in men's physique and classic physique, but you never did bodybuilding. I did everything. I did everything. I did classic bodybuilding, classic physique, bodybuilding, men's physique, everything. But men's physique is a long time ago.
You'll never see me in men's physique.
Huh?
My body's not cut for men's physique.
For sure not. It's crazy, but I don't know. It won't fit men's physique.
Yeah.
But good fit for classic, so
It's good fit for classic.
I don't know. But with Dre and myself, it kind of feels like it fits more also in men's physique.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the last time I competed in men's physique was back in 2018. It's 7 years ago. It feels like a full circle a bit.
Time to dust off the shorts.
I will. You won't go to Berlin, Dre, right?
No.
I will buy you the tickets if you come.
I will have Chloe.
Oh.
No.
She can see me in board shorts if she wants. Then she will see Samson Dauda, and then she's brand marked.
Oh yeah, Samson Dowder gonna be there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike too.
He gonna be doing a guest
stage?
posing.
Oh, they
I don't know. I don't think Mike's guest posing, only Samson.
No, but Samson is guest posing.
Yeah.
Mike is at a lot of shows. I met him a lot of times backstage at some.
Yeah, Mike was just in
regionals.
like South America guest posing like recently.
He did the lion posing there.
Yeah, he was in South America. Yeah,
He looks like a bodybuilder.
yeah, he does.
He looked big. He looked so
yeah, he's
big.
huge. Yeah.
It's. You think that the classic physique cutoff is too high in the professional league? From
I
the
think
looks?
I think they're getting very close to bodybuilders.
It feels like some physiques really look like bodybuilding physiques.
Yeah.
At the Arnolds, wasn't there an Asian guy? Like, Instagram name something with Baki or something.
Oh yeah, that dude is great. He's from Korea.
He looked also really, really good. Good conditioning, overall good physique, but he also looked like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
He looked like he could move to 212 or something.
Hey, did you see Vito the other day?
On stage at
Yes.
the South America show, yes.
Yeah, he looked good.
He looked good, but he was not at his 100%. But
He went in bad condition, yeah. But he looked good.
I think he knew that he doesn't need to. He still looked improved to last year,
Yeah.
but the back double is hurting him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Are
I
you?
think he needs some more conditioning. Once he get a conditioning, I think it'll look better. But not the back double. But he's still.
He's not
he needs
just.
some more
He
conditioning.
just don't open the pose.
Yeah.
Pulls it together, and it doesn't show any width. I mean, he's wide. He's really
Yeah,
wide. You can see it in
big dude.
front, but in the back pose, he's just like pulling it back and not opening the lats.
Once he gets his posing right, I think he'll be like top 6 for sure at the Olympia.
Let's first see how Pittsburgh goes. What's your take on Michael Grizzo?
Pittsburgh Pro gonna be crazy though.
He's also competing at Pittsburgh. The
don't even
updates
know
of
if
Grizzo
he's
seems to me really crazy. He really looks big.
You said who?
Grizzo,
Oh yeah,
Michael Grizzo.
yeah. They Pittsburgh Pro gonna be crazy. Cause there's a lot of people.
Who wins?
I don't
Who's
know.
competing? I don't even know.
You
They got Martin.
Daniel,
They got
you don't
Vito.
follow pro bodybuilding?
I do, but Pittsburgh is still so far.
Bro, Pittsburgh is 4 weeks out. It's over the corner. So you
Yeah.
have Derek Lunsford, you have Martin Fitzwater, you have Nick Walker, you have Mike Krizo, you have Vitaly Ugonokov, Gudvido, you have William Bonac,
No way.
you have yes.
Is old boy from the UK coming? James.
James Hollingshead, I think, is also scheduled to
Yeah, I think
compete, but I'm not
yeah.
really sure. But could be, yes. I think the lineup is crazy, actually.
Lineup is insane.
I mean, there is a former.
That's deeper than the Arnold.
I know. Yeah, it's insane.
You know, Derek was competing. I thought it was a rumor.
Derek jumped in. He didn't plan on I mean, maybe he did.
I think he just jumped in last week. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
a week ago or 1.5 weeks he announced it, and he also teased that he might do New York as well 1 week later. So imagine Derek winning the Arnold, winning Pittsburgh, going to New York, and also taking away the qualification of Nick, for example.
Yeah, because that's all he's doing, taking away the qualification.
But bro, imagine Nick coming improved and blowing away Derek.
Yeah.
Could you see that? I can see it. I really can see it because I will until this show I'm gonna be very supportive still to Nick Walker. Because I really like his physique. The 21 version Arnold Classic where he was so diced and like had a small, really controlled midsection, this was crazy shit. And he improved a lot size-wise. So if he managed to come that lean with that control of the midsection, then it can really be lights out also for Derek Lunsford. Because Nick Walker also, he's not the prettiest physique, but
that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's the point. He missed 2 Olympias. The showing last year at New York wasn't the greatest of Nick. He wasn't as conditioned. His midsection control wasn't as good. He pulled out of the Olympia, like I said, and it feels like he's losing a lot of momentum at this point. And I think it's a make or break show for Nick. And until I see him there, I will be supportive, and I really think he's gonna win. I know it's a bold claim because Derek just won the Arnold Classic over the reigning Olympia champion, but what a crazy year it would be for bodybuilding if Nick would beat Derek.
Yeah, it would be insane.
I mean, Derek beat the Olympia champion and then Nick beat Derek. This would be really, really crazy shit. But it still has to be seen. So
bodybuilding is super exciting now.
It's pretty close.
It is, yes.
So many good shows.
I mean, a lot of different physiques, but Samson, Hardy, Derek, those physiques are really, really close. They're not looking in any shape or form like each other, but it comes down to who's nailing the peak.
Yeah,
and they've
who's
all
coming
won the
in?
Olympia title.
Huh?
They're all Mr. Olympias.
Yeah, it's a mix of Miss Olympias, and it seems like everybody's improving, and it just comes down to
Brandon as well. He's also an Olympian.
How did he place last Olympia? Wasn't he sixth?
I think he was. I think he was 5th or 4th. I don't know.
I would also like to see Samson very conditioned though.
Samson was just let us think about it. Samson was first, Hardy second, third Derek, fourth was Martin,
Probably.
fifth was Andrew.
Oh, okay. Then
and sixth was Brandon, I think. But Brandon is still up there, I think.
I think he still looks really good. Amazing structure, but the guys are just surpassing him at a rate that he can't keep up with at his age, I think.
But I really like his physique. I think if he would go to more conditioned state again, like he did in, how was it, 220? I really like the look in 220 of Brandon, the more slimmer but pretty diced look. You guys remember where he got second next to Rami? Bro.
Yeah, 2021.
2021 as well. But there he was way bigger and not as conditioned. You need to Google it after podcast. But Brandon Curry was... Everybody says he wasn't a good Olympia champion, but still he managed to place high a lot of years. A lot of years he was at the top, winning the Olympia, placing second twice, then staying in the top 4. But I think the younger guys are just surpassing him, and I really don't see him getting back to that Olympia winning shape at that age. Same with Bonek. I mean, Bonek also placed second at Olympia, and he's still winning shows and improving again. But will he be as good as he was back then, like with the 3D muscle, with the width, and I don't know. I really have a hard time believing that someone at that age and that seasoned as well. I mean, those guys are competing since decades. Brandon as well. I think his first Olympia was 2016 or something. Around that time, yeah. I mean, what kind of big changes can you expect at that point?
Yeah,
who's your favorite Mr. Olympia champion of all time?
Favorite?
Yeah. Maybe like a top 3 even, if you can name a few. Because mine would be Sean Roden for sure, and then probably Phil Heath and Frank Zane. I think those physiques are definitely physiques I would strive to try at least somewhat look alike. I think those are really awesome physiques.
Back in the day, Frank Zane really motivated me, but Ronnie Coleman was just a freak and sheer mass. But at the end of the 19th century, he was also pretty aesthetic with that size. Not as big as he became later, but he was just a freak back then as well. And Cutler, from the mindset aspect, I really enjoy the motivation videos of Jay Cutler. I don't like the physique as much, but still I enjoy listening to him and those old workout videos. But Phil Heath is also in my top 3. Yeah. But is it in the top 3 who would win, or is it just your favorite?
No, just like favorable physiques that I prefer. I think Phil Heath, from a mindset standpoint and a physique standpoint, both probably. I mean, him and Sean Roden, they're both good, but he's probably over Sean Roden, I'd say. But Sean Roden, from an aesthetic standpoint,
yeah, Phil Heath,
he was just so complete.
You can't pick him apart, especially in his earlier years. There was no midsection struggle. I mean, he never had like those perfect symmetrical abs and shit, but it was the only part that was missing, maybe, to perfection. Chest was huge, traps, delts, triceps, biceps, forearms even, calves, hamstrings, adductors, maybe the quads. Quads were not as striated as, for example, his rival Kai Green back then. Quads could be a weak point, maybe in this regard from the detail standpoint, but overall glutes were crazy chiseled. Back was insane. I mean, what can you say? If not Ronnie Coleman, I also think that Phil Heath was the most complete and best bodybuilder.
I think Phil Heath would too, though. Like they talk about how, I remember Jay Cutler. I watched a podcast on Jay Cutler and Phil Heath, and he was talking about how, like, Phil Heath had like this skin, like the way his skin like just meshed with his, like, laid over his muscle. It was like perfect, and it was like he was so good because of that. Like, one, like, not just because of that one thing, but when he got on stage, he was almost like incomparable to, because his skin laid on his muscle so perfectly, you know.
It looked like plastic,
yeah,
like striated plastic.
Yeah.
But he also had it in his earlier days, where he wasn't really training for bodybuilding. He did basketball, and he was also jacked back then. And also at his first show, I mean, if you compare people who do open bodybuilding at regional shows or like German nationals or something, they're not on that quality, even though it's the same weight. It's still, I think a big factor is also skin quality. Mm-hmm. And how full your muscle bellies are genetically. He had the combination of really, really full muscle bellies all over. I mean, every muscle belly was full, and really small joints.
He wasn't the biggest guy, yeah, but his muscle bellies helped him overcome that. That's why he's called the gift. Well,
I mean, there was no up until this day, they're also the current Olympia champions. I mean, who's really getting close?
They're not as impressive. I mean, it's very competitive now, but he was so dominant that I feel like it's probably going to take forever.
I would say if Samson would nail it once, just come in with his 100%, like Phil Heath, for example, this would be lights out, and this would be the closest to Samson Dauda, to Phil, to Ronnie Coleman.
I would love to see Samson condition, like fully conditioned. I think, yeah, like you said, it would be lights out. I think nobody would be able to like compete with him.
He won the Olympia not as conditioned as he could have been. Imagine that. How good he is. How good he is, structure-wise. I mean, of course, he's not the most aesthetic dude, but he's huge. He's like really tall, really wide, and packs a lot of muscle. And the muscle that he's packing also looks aesthetic.
Have you met him once?
Yes, I saw him also compete at the Arnold's.
Yeah.
I was at the Arnold's. It was last year. Was it last year?
Yeah.
It was last year. Yeah.
Henry, yeah.
Yeah. You've been the year before.
Close?
Huh?
Like right in front of you? Or did you go to like a meet and greet or anything?
No.
Or did you see
him? No, I did not. But he was also at Invictus Cup last year, which was a few weeks later. Yeah, I saw him there, and also at some other location, he was also there. I met him. I met him in Prague. I have a picture with him. Yes, Prague 2023. I met him there. Yes, he did not take a lot of photos, but with us, because I think we were the first ones who were asking him in the backstage. He took some photos with us, and then he moved and went out of the competition area.
Yeah, he's for sure one of the biggest people on earth. He weighs like 130, 140 kilos on stage, I think.
It's crazy.
What's 300 pounds in kilos? I don't even know.
Is it 140? Is it 140?
It's like 140, yeah. Like 140, yeah.
Guys, 140. 140.
And he's like 185 or 6'1". Yeah. At that height, that's ridiculous. If you've seen him in person, you know what he looks like.
He's so wide. He's so wide. But I would really love to see Andrew Jack once. I would really see
this weekend.
Yeah, but I will be not at FIBO, so that doesn't matter. I was really hoping that I saw him at the Arnold last year, but then he pulled out. But this is a physique I would really enjoy watching, even though it's maybe not the most conditioned, but I just want to see how it looks in person. I don't know. It just
he looks crazy. He looks insane, though.
I really think this physique really stands out if you look at him in person. Hadi Choopan also looked crazy last year.
Yeah, I mean, his condition is insane too.
So, you guys have another topic we want to talk about, or you want to go get some food? Because I'm starving.
I gotta go to the gym. I gotta go do my
You need
workout.
to go train now.
Yeah.
What you gonna train?
Hamstrings.
Hamstrings. Just hamstrings.
Hamstrings and abs.
And abs. All right.
Oh, and I also took advice. I've been doing calves three times a week.
Yes.
Yes. Seated calves. So I do tibialis, and then I do there's a 15 to 20 on tibialis, and I go straight to seated to a failure, and then the next time I do standing 15 to 20 reps, and I go seated calves to failure, and then the other day I just do seated calves to failure.
Okay. Let's see how it works.
I hope it works. It gotta work. I need some calves.
Yeah, for sure. Your calves are not bad, but they're just inserted a little bit higher, so we need to pack on more mass. Bro, look at Andrew Jack. He has really, really high calves, but his calves are really round as well. It looks like an apple. I don't know. It just looks.
Hey, Daniel, when do you plan to compete again?
I'll take this year off to grow. I think I'll compete next year again, same time, always around October, November.
Are you still junior there?
Next year I'm still a junior, so I'm planning to just knock everything out.
When is your birthday?
I'll compete several times. January 6th.
So he'll be 22?
I will be 23 exactly, yeah.
23.
There's certain shows you can still compete at 23. Some have a different
Yeah,
regulation.
yeah.
I don't know.
Mutual
At
effort.
22, there's cap, but
But didn't you place fourth at your pro show, which was
I
also not a?
placed. Yeah. I placed fourth at a pro show, and the day before I did bodybuilding amateur. I placed third at the Europeans.
But it was
In
also
So
not junior, or was it?
the classic pro was just
Yeah.
all classic pros. I was the youngest guy there, but I was doing junior bodybuilding. That's where I placed top three.
Are there
That's
any
Denmark, right?
Sorry, what?
Denmark, right?
Denmark?
Denmark, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any junior classic physique pro shows? Is there something like this? Because you can win your pro card in juniors.
There's the GNBB.
Yes,
It's
it's
the
it's
GNBF,
this fall.
but it's not every year. So if it were next year, I probably would have gone there.
I
But
don't think that it's gonna be next year if it's this year.
I don't think either. But I've already picked a couple of shows in the top of my head, and I think if I can, I will try to compete at least 5 times, maybe even 6 next year.
That's a lot.
As long as I'm a junior, I gotta knock everything out, and yeah.
Are you
I'll
planning
definitely-
on doing amateurs again, or if there are no?
I wanna.
Because if there are no junior pro shows, what's your plan?
Well, I
Did
wanna
not even talk about it yet.
Yeah, it's well, since I've turned pro in classic, I obviously wanted to put to the test how well I do in amateur bodybuilding. And since I placed top 3 at a European show, which is super competitive as well, I think I could definitely get some bodybuilding wins as well. And I want to test myself out. I want to compete more often in both of those classes at the same time, still with the emphasis on competing as a pro in classic physique, but I don't want to leave that out of the table completely. Like I want to do at least 2-3 bodybuilding shows if possible, and I got to choose them well. So I think now knowing that I can do well in bodybuilding and classic really just motivates me a lot more now as well.
I like
Knowing
the
I can do
fact
more than
that
each class.
I really like the fact that when you turn pro, that you can still compete as an amateur in a high category.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's
I like it. But it's still, if you compare it with other federations, it's still weird. Because
it is weird because the requirements are different. I mean, I have a weight cap in bodybuilding. There is no weight cap really, and I've pretty much capped out my weight as a classic guy almost at certain shows. At the GmbF or at the AMBF, it was super close. But I think if I would have came in a little tighter, it wouldn't have been a problem. And I also had problems traveling, but I'm not gonna grow much more as a classic guy. So yeah, I just have to relay the emphasis on being more shredded. But I can obviously still grow. But if I want to show myself bigger, I also have to be a lot leaner as well. So I have to consider that a bit.
Do you
Yeah,
guys?
because I want to do bodybuilding next year too. I'm competing in the spring, and I want to try bodybuilding because same like you, I came in with 600, like less than 600 grams to spare, and in classic. So I want to see what I can do in bodybuilding with a little bit more, weight on me.
If your training is going just as good as mine is and you're able to really improve, I think you do really well in bodybuilding as well. I think both of us, we have like a classic structure that if we can really fill out, we'll probably do well in bodybuilding.
Isn't it almost every time like this? If a guy has a really nice classic structure and he packs on a lot more muscle, he most likely will also look good in bodybuilding. But other way around, it's not like this.
Yeah, it depends. I beat some guys who were definitely bigger than me. That's why I was also so surprised doing so well. But obviously, I'm still not packing enough muscle. So we'll see how that looks next year. I think I can still make very good progress and grow into that class.
I think so too.
Are there different weight regulations at the Pro League there?
Regulations at the Pro League?
Yes.
In Classic Pro?
Yes. Do you have more weight there, or is it the same? Because
There's no weight cap. There's no weight cap. That's a good thing.
But
so I don't have to.
But why?
I don't have to.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I mean, they didn't weigh me at all in Denmark, so I just went in there. I'm like, wait, I don't have to get weighed or anything. And they're like, nope, they're good.
That's
so
crazy.
I mean, that kind of throws a shoulder off, throws a stone off my shoulder.
Yeah, but still, how do they like test or manage the natural status? I mean, the weight cap is one factor to
I
try to
mean,
limit
they
the amount
test
of
you,
muscle
but
that
there's
they.
also they definitely test you, but there's also other factors coming into play, like presentation and stuff like that. But you mean how they? You mean
I mean, the
you
weight
ask me
regulations are at the natural federations have a good point by just don't want the athletes to overgrow their physiques by using stuff. But it's kind of weird that at the amateurs you have a weight cap, and then when you turn pro, like you can weigh as much as a bodybuilder, as a natural bodybuilder in the
Yeah.
amateurs or what? I mean,
I mean, now that you
if
mention
it sounds
yeah.
like that when you turn pro in classic, you don't have any regulations and you can just grow your classic physique as much as a bodybuilder.
I mean, technically, I suppose that is possible. But the guys that I was facing in the pro classic physique class, they were really at different levels. So
Yeah,
structurally, they were definitely way further than like a bodybuilding guy. The insertions are different.
but sure. I mean, they turned pro in classic, so sure
Yeah, yeah.
they
I
kind
think
of should look classic, but at the end, it's still a muscle game. You need to pack on muscle, and I think that this fits very well with your bodybuilding amateur plans. If you still want to put on
yeah.
muscle as a pro, you can still compete in bodybuilding as an amateur.
I think I don't know. There's not much I can do unless like I can grow, obviously, but I think it's more about refining my proportions as well a little bit because it gets judged differently. Obviously, the criteria is not the same. Um, you have to place aesthetics over mass a little more, but overall, I think there's not the biggest difference between classic versus bodybuilding in natural bodybuilding, at least.
Also in amateur NPC bodybuilding or classic physique, a lot of times the most ripped and most muscular guy gonna win, even though he's not classic in any sense of form. So
Yeah,
it's about conditioning and mass. At some point, of course, it's about structure, get genetics, presentation, but it's all about mass and conditioning.
not everyone does well in bodybuilding. For example, if I can't think of anyone right now, but sometimes people in classic they're lucky enough to win, and then they go do a bodybuilding show and they won't even place in top 5.
In natural federations, you mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because for example, at the GNBF, the posing is scored a lot.
yeah, exactly.
So I think this is a really good point. At the end,
I think posing. There was a debate going on Instagram where the Danish Federation posted a poll asking whether classic physique posing should be scored or not, whether it should count.
the INBA
And I
Netherlands.
think it should. No, Denmark.
Ah, Denmark. Okay, because I have two athletes competing there next week.
Yeah, no. I think classic posing. There's no point in not judging classic physique posing. I think, it shouldn't go to the point where a guy with a shitty physique could beat a guy with a much better looking physique
Yeah.
just over posing. But I think if you're judging a top 5 lineup
How about
and it's super
20%?
close, yeah, like it doesn't have to be 50%. I think
No.
that's a little too much as well.
Yeah.
But it should count at least like 30%.
At the
Maybe.
DBFV, you have 1/3.
Because how else are you going to despair classic from bodybuilding, especially when you're natural?
But
I mean, it's not like you can take less drugs or anything. It's
you know, I mean, at the NPC, it will just not get scored in any division. But for example, at the DBFV, also in bodybuilding, you get 1/3 of the score with the posing routine.
I think everyone should have the same. I think it's weird that it's so different in every
Yeah,
federation
but
because that's what.
I mean, imagine coming completely new into bodybuilding and looking for a show, and you're getting completely overwhelmed by the amount of federations and shows you can choose from. So if you don't have someone who's guiding you, you don't have an overview at all. It's just
Yeah.
overfloating. Yeah.
Oh well. I think it should definitely be a key factor for classic physique because why else would you be doing classic? it should be heavily more weighed on the presentation aspect.
I would love to have it in the NPC as well, bro. Natural federations are ahead in this case.
Mm-hmm.
I do some really nice routines also at NPC shows, and it just doesn't get scored. And what I saw also a lot of times, not even the best poser get the best posing award, but a lot of times the best looking poser gets the best posing award. I mean, a lot of time the overall champions in classic or whatever get the best posing as well. But is it really because of the posing sometimes, or because the guy just looks good just doing whatever?
I don't know.
I just say what I think.
The judges were tired that day if that happened, but I've never seen that happen. I think
I saw it a few times. Just my 2 cents on that. But guys, I really need to eat.
Yeah,
I really need to eat my chicken and veggies. I got zucchini with my chicken today.
Daniel, it was great to see you, my brother.
Yeah, man. It was
good
really
to
nice
see you
talking
as
to you.
well.
Stefan didn't know that me and you talk to each other sometimes. So I told him we do talk to each other sometimes on Instagram. Just chatting it up every now and then.
Daniel, if you get a better webcam next time, you can come back into the podcast.
I will try. This is just my laptop webcam. I haven't used Zoom in 4 years, so
But it was a really nice chat, man. So
yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye bye.
See you.